Hey everybody, it's Leon with Bigfoot Okanagan. I apologize for not being around for about 2 months. Can't believe it's been 2 months already, but I've been doing quite a few interviews and also trying to set up a different style of platform online for people who are looking for research information on finding Bigfoot or Sasquatch. And also to set up a program where we can have about 100 of us on hashing ideas back and forth. I want to thank everybody who viewed that last video on the whole massacre theory that's online. I can't even believe we're actually discussing that whole thing and people are so emotionally reacting to it since it's been actually vetted about 10 years ago. But I think it also shows us that, listen, there's a lot of people who've moved online to kind of investigate or are curious about the Sasquatch topic. But we haven't moved ahead at all. So I think, in the last 50 years, we should have them on film already. So we're missing something. That's why I keep harping on the idea of systems theory, so that you can look at the system instead of be part and taken in through the confirmation bias or the prepping that happens whenever you watch videos online about any particular topic. And so I came across a video channel, and I want to show you some videos off it. And remember, if you believed in these particular cryptids and you came across this channel, the visuals this person provides on the channel, which is amazing to me, would pull you in hook, line, and sinker. And there's some really important things we're going to learn about using critical thinking and the scientific method when looking at data, when we're listening to people, and the narrative. That's the priming, is the narrative you're hearing when you're watching people's videos about Sasquatch. Especially if you are interested in Sasquatch, which means your mind is open to the idea of the narration that you're hearing, which is going to prime your thinking. But how do you vet the information when all you have is a video and a narrative attached to that video? So, before I get going, I just want to also point out that Justin is heading out. I think I just talked to him the other night there in August for his Wild Man, In Search for the Wild Man documentary he's working on. I would really encourage you guys, I'll put a link below here, to financially assist him. 5, 10, 20 bucks, $100 if you can. What I'd like to do, he doesn't know this, he probably will know now because I'm filming it, but is get him some night vision that he's looking for. And so if you guys could help out with that, and if you donate stuff, just put night vision on it so he knows that's the donation that goes to that. And again, the link will be below. So on that note, I want you guys to check out this YouTube channel, and we'll dissect it after we're done looking at the videos, okay? So here you go.
Now, this one just down here, you just see walking behind the tree. Might be able to see him when he comes out, although not really very well. He's heading off down towards the other settlement, so I'll go down there myself, I think. There's one just up here, there, just in front of camera. He's been keeping an eye on me, but he's just sat down there. But I don't think this is a camp, and I think he's just sent out as a scout to just keep an eye on what I'm doing. So, not sure if it's worth staying around, to be honest. So, not sure. I'll just go back I'll just get the camera right. I can hear something. Oh, at last he's coming out. Been waiting here for about he's going back in. He's got my look at this. Hold on, my sandwich. Very, very tempted to go and get that from him. Probably won't even like tuna mayonnaise. Right, well, that's the final straw for me, I'm afraid, today. I'm I'm going to head off home. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, so that was pretty fascinating video. Imagine if you were into pixies, which aren't fairies, and you were really into pixies. You're really into Sasquatch, and you came across a video channel that had that style of video and that style of visual evidence that pixies are real and they exist. Now, I'm probably looking at my notes a little bit here just so I can keep on track here a little bit. So the video channel is a YouTube channel, and the person who put it up is called Erwin Saunders, and he's from England. And he has about a little over 16,000 subscribers. He has 17 videos that I've tracked down and located. His last video appeared 357 days ago, so that's a little suspicious. And he's had over 579,000 views on his videos. So the key part is we're not doing this because I think Erwin Sanders is a hoaxer or deceptor. Now, I know people would say, well, this is obviously hoaxing and decepting. No, because what we're looking for is not getting personally invested in our opinion about somebody. We're here to stay neutral about the data so we don't become biased and with our confirmational biasness of what we think about this person, because it's going to blind us from not being objective and a healthy observer to looking at data. But when I found those videos, I thought, man, if that was, imagine that technology, because the bottom line is it is technology that he's using, which is CGI, that if you can do that with pixies, it's coming down the pike pretty soon, you guys. You're going to see videos of Sasquatches, and it's going to be just like that. Matter of fact, I know, I was talking to somebody the other day, actually just this morning, they had sent me a posting that they had from a Bigfoot site saying about this particular channel, and that it's proven that the pixies exist. And this is how, unfortunately, gullible we can be, including myself, in regards to this whole kind of Sasquatch topic. Is you have got to know that your brain plays games on you, and you're outgunned because of the priming that happens when you come online regarding watching videos about Sasquatch. And the priming is the narrative that you hear on the screen, and which you've heard me say over and over again. So there is a couple of things I wanted to just kind of point out with this video, but I want to get some assistance here from, oops, I want to get some assistance here. I want to get some assistance here from Neil deGrasse Tyson, because he's got some pretty good stuff in regards to when you're looking at objective thinking, and also in regards to some of the problems we have as a human condition. So just give me a sec here.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing enough about a subject to think you're right, but not enough about the subject to know you're wrong.
So, as Neil has said, the problem with most of us is that we think that we know enough about a subject, that we believe that we are right, but not enough about that subject to actually realize that we're wrong. And I find that kind of ideology pretty prevalent in the Bigfoot community, because we're not objective thinkers. We go to a subjective positioning because of the narration and the belief we have in a lot of the channels that we're following in regards to the information we're getting from them. So it becomes this priming of our thinking process, and we know nothing about Sasquatch. I've noticed over the decades there's so many people who've moved online that don't know a lot of the information that people who've been online for a while have known in regards to what is valid in regards to pictures and evidence. But there's a whole slew of people that are online now that don't know any of that stuff, so they're still vulnerable to get hook, line, and sinker into this. So when I watched those Erwin's videos there, and I saw those pixies there, I just thought, well, okay, what's the first thing to do? Well, the first thing I ended up doing was contacting my British allies I have out there, and from Wales and England, and one was Andy McGrath from Beasts of Britain. The other one was Daniela, hi Daniel, from Hidden Existence, and of course also Jason Parsons, Bigfoot Tony. And Daniela was saying, this guy's a hoaxer right off the bat kind of thing. Now, I don't like using the word hoaxer because I'm pretty sure the guy's trying to do it as entertainment, but there is a suspicion there. If he hasn't put up video for over 357 days, there's something obviously going on there. But, and Tony's gonna probably, Bigfoot Tony's gonna probably do up a video to show why those aren't real. And it's kind of important because what's come down with technology, we have to figure out how to negotiate things. And part of this video will be what's about the scientific method, which is Merton's norms, and how do you assess things so you know what you're actually doing. So just before we get going though, I wanna continue with another thought from Neil deGrasse Tyson. So let's go.
The goal here is to train your mind how to see the world differently, how to question what others say. I've come to realize that there are three categories of truth: personal truth, political truths, and the objective truths that shape our understanding of the universe. The interesting thing about an objective truth is that it's true no matter what. Imagine that. By the time we're done, you will be equipped with some of the methods and tools so you can turn data into information, information into knowledge, knowledge into wisdom.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about objective truth compared to subjective truth, because I think a lot of people are kind of confused about that. Now, the weird thing is, like, it's like I talk about the problem with Western cultures. We're very binary. So a lot of times the binary thinking is we have two positions, and one is always looked at as a negative. Critical thinking is like that. It's critical, or just the word alone, critical, must be a negative compared to a positive. And when you look at objective thinking and objective truth and subjective truth, they're not right or wrong, good or bad. They become distortedly towards good or bad in regards to perceptions. So, say you were walking through the forest and you came across something that looked really, really weird. Like I had some fungi or something out in my yard here. I've never seen this kind of fungi before. It looked like, well, basically baby poop, but it was really fluffy and foamy. And I thought, what is that? So objective observation is looking at something new that I've never seen before, and I objectively have no context to know what I'm actually looking at as I look down on the ground to see what the stuff is actually here on the ground. Now, what ends up happening in your thinking process is you are aware that you're not sure what you're looking at, and that's why it's objective, because you haven't brought anything to bear on the ideas in your mind or in your brain in regards to what this thing is that I've now come across. So, subjective truth and objective truth are supposed to be kind of like a marriage. There's always conflict in it. It's like the heart and the head. There's a schism between the heart and head, and neither one can prove the other one's right. So you might say you love your wife, but how are you going to prove that you love your wife to an outside observer? Well, you can do actions that show that, but it doesn't mean that that's true, because I deal a lot with sociopathic and narcissistic relationships in my clients. And yeah, from the outside source, everyone would think they have a great relationship, but it's not necessarily true. So when you're looking at objective truth, okay, so you come across structures, you come across something that looks Sasquatchy, and when you come across that and you don't know what it is and it looks unfamiliar to you, that's objective observation. Now, as soon as my thinking process goes to putting ideas and concepts onto it, which is what we're supposed to do, because that's what your subjective programming system does, then that's where things can start going off the rails, I guess. Now, you guys know that I don't buy the whole structure thing, and I was online and I got hook, line, and sinker online again because of the narrative that these things are supposed to represent Sasquatch. But after doing due diligence of research, I haven't come across any structures whatsoever that have to do with Sasquatch at all. And I think as a prophecy down the road, everyone is going to find that information out. Once you can learn a different way of objectively looking at the data. And Brent from the Tall Ones, when we were interviewed with Daniela on Hidden Existence, he had a good point, which was they were dealing with a tree that's been around for a long time, known as the Sasquatch tree, I think, and it's been known for about 10 years, and all these people have gone there, and they got cameras up, and and everyone, of course, your priming in your thinking is that this is the Sasquatch, because the narrative, as you heard, this is the Sasquatch tree. And he had to go in there with a total different objective positioning, which was, let's throw all of that out of my mind and find out what is making the sound. And as soon as he did that, it cleared up his brain from a biasness that it had to hope it was the Sasquatch, to see whether or not it was a Sasquatch. And of course, finds out later that it's not a Sasquatch making all these sounds and these rumbling sounds that are going down through the tree. Now, he talked about the tree being a marriage tree. A marriage tree is, you got two trunks that go up, but they have one base. I call that a tuning fork tree. And the reason why we call it that is because of the reverberation of the two trunks that are going up there. When the wind goes through it, it's like a tuning fork. It goes right down to the ground, which makes the ground actually shake and move. Especially in the root system. So remember, if you're walking into that and you've been primed to say that the people you're with are saying that it's a Sasquatch, well, you're primed already to believe it's a Sasquatch, but plus I want to find a Sasquatch, so I want to hope it is a Sasquatch. So objective truth and subjective truth are supposed to be a marriage, but they'll always be in conflict. So one of the ways you deal with objective truth and subjective truth, no matter what your theory is on anything or speculation of what you believe it is, you ask yourself this question is, can I be wrong? Can I be wrong with what I'm projecting onto what I'm seeing and perceiving and believing? The reason why you want to do that is to find out another way of looking at the data so it's objectively neutral instead of personally invested. As soon as your brain goes into thinking about something that's unseen, so when I looked at that fungi that's there, I think my brain went to Invasions of the Body Snatchers because it was so eerily weird looking that I had an emotion attached to this ickiness. That's this thing. The bottom line, I can't remember what the name of the fungus actually was, but after I got one of my friends to come over and looked at it, and it was all puffy. But again, it looked just like baby poo. It was the weirdest kind of stuff. But my brain doesn't know what it is, so I'm trying to figure out what it is. And as soon as I start trying to figure out what it is, I'm thinking about what I feel it might be. And this is where you start getting primed in your thinking process. But you still have to be objective about what it is. It's not aliens that are all of a sudden spreading across my grass out of my acreage here, slowly creeping over to take over the ducks and the chickens and the horses, and eventually me in the world. That's not what's actually happening. So that's kind of, hopefully that made sense to you, is a subjective and objective observation. Objective observation is outside observing it. Subjective is internal dialogue of negotiating the observation, but you still want to be objective in the internal process, so you're not emotionally hooked into any idea. The neat thing about objective truth, if I ever declare to you this is a Sasquatch, like Irwin has done, these are pixies, as soon as I declare that, you have every right to release the hounds on me. So this whole thing about people getting upset when you're claiming certain things that you're saying is a Sasquatch, that is called vetting of the data. And it's called the scientific method, and scientists are as frustrated with it as we're going to be with it, because no one wants to be wrong. But we have to be flexible to be wrong. And you have a right to vet. That's Merton's norms. The first rule of Merton's norms is we are let me just check here. Communalism. That's what it's called. Communalism is we throw it out to the community and they get a chance to look at the data to find out whether it's valid or not. But we don't take it from my opinion of what I believe something to be true, because I could have, there's one God and I believe a God, but I could be a Hindu, or I could be a Muslim, or I can be Jewish, I could be Christian. whose God are we talking about here? And each of those positionings are going to have a biasness to them because of the belief they believe about their faith that they have that's going to come in and cause conflict. And that's what we find here in the Bigfoot online scene, is a lot of conflict of ideologies and stuff. We have to focus on being objective. All right. So on that, I want to start dissecting these videos a little bit. And like I said, sorry, Bigfoot Tony is going to be doing an analysis. I'm going to try to do it from a different angle than what he's going to do it with, and just show you a few of the videos and say what's kind of perplexing about that, and I'll explain why that's kind of perplexing for me. Okay, thanks, guys. All right, so I want you to go back into your memory banks of before you were ever online looking for Sasquatch. Okay, I want you to go back, if you can go back during that time in your life when you were interested in Sasquatch, and you saw In Search of Bigfoot, and you seen these other documentaries about Sasquatch, and how that started to giving you a priming in your mind of curiosity towards these bipedal giants that seem to walk through the forest. This is kind of how most of us had started off. So we saw, usually through TV or documentaries, films about Sasquatch. And then as time moved forward, the internet shows up, and then we start finding people online, videos, and the ones we seem to check out, because after a while you're picking up subconscious information while you're online as well, which was directing you to these other channels that seem to have a very high rate of subscribers to them, and also views on their videos, and that kind of makes your brain think, 'cause your brain likes patterns, remember, and numbers are a form of pattern. So the more numbers, it means there's value, and in the value of those numbers, the amounts of those people, gives credibility to the narrative that's online. So you start developing again this biasness of interesting stuff. And when I first came online, I think one of the ones, and most of you guys will remember this, is like 10 years ago, if not longer, was Mike Patterson. And when you heard his videos from Ontario Sasquatch, they totally took you in hook, line, and sinker. And it was the best of the best. And it was interesting because back in those days, there was, a fair amount of people who were starting to go on the internet and stuff, but there was ones that seemed to come to the top in regards to the narrative they were presenting on their videos about Sasquatch topics. Plus, with the number of views that they had and subscribers that they had, it seemed that these should be the channels that we watch. So we started to do that. And as time moved forward, we started to understand, and time is, years, we started to realize that there's something that seems to be missing. But we're still piqued and curious about this whole topic about Sasquatch. And the interesting thing about Irwin's videos about pixies is that, first of all, that the CGI in them, oops, I get this green look here happening. The CGI in them seemed to be so unique that if you believed in pixies and you went online like we did when we first came online regarding Sasquatch, and you came across one of his videos, boy, I'll tell you, you'd be, well, here, Leon, here, look at these videos. How do you explain this? This looks, the guy's got it sorry, the guy's got it on video here. Well, there's a difference between video and digital. And I would, as a cautionary note, I'd always ask you guys to carry a video camera on your with your equipment, because a video is a lot harder to mess around with in regards to fool people when people want to look at the actual video to see if there's any discrepancies in the claims compared to digital, because digital CGI, and it's coming down the pike. We're going to end up getting a digitalized Sasquatch event. I can't remember which one came out a few years back. And it was the one, I think it was the red cedar Sasquatch or something like that. But it looked like a real Sasquatch, and I think Thinker Thunker did a breakdown on it and all that kind of stuff. And it turned out it was totally fake. But I took it hook, line, and sinker. I actually took that video and showed other people saying, yeah, look at this. And it looked really, 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 really good. But I was totally wrong. and the Sasquatch was used in a band and all this kind of stuff. But I'll tell you, it was a great costume. So when you're looking at this particular video, I'm going to show you, break it down into 2 of his videos at a time. So the first one I want to look at is, again, remember, you know about pixies, you're interested in pixies, you come online, you've seen a few channels, and it's kind of stuff about pixies, a lot of narration, but nothing really shown, or, you know, maybe things circled in trees, so there's a pixie there, that kind of thing. But here you come onto Erwin's channel, and they're crystal clear. Heaven forbid, it's too good to be true. Well, there's your first sign right there that something might be up there. And so you can come across this one right here, where it's just a little short moment of that, but you see this thing, and remember, as soon as you see that in your brain's going to go, holy smokes, and it looks like, it doesn't look like it's CGI, and it's only on there for a few seconds, but there's something that your endorphins and other chemicals are releasing in your brain, which is putting reinforcers in your neural net pathway that this could be true, and it's happening in micro speed. Remember, your neural net pathway travels the speed of light, and you throw chemicals in there as well because you're a pharmacological company inside of your body that produces a whole bunch of hallucinogenic drugs and THC and a variety of other kind of chemicals. It's going to heighten and pique your belief that what you're watching is true. So you watch that first, this one here, and then the next one is the one that comes up on the stump, and you can see him climbing up here, and he's looking around, so he's obviously looking for something. Now, if something's looking for something, the first thing you would think that they would be peaked and aware because they're looking for something specific. So as it walks around the top of the stump, you see it looking all around, but it doesn't notice something, which is something that isn't natural to the forest, which is the camera that's filming him, which is a little suspicious to me as well. Because if any of you do search and rescue and you're looking for somebody who's lost, your whole senses are peaked, and you know there's something out there, and so you are over-peaked in a healthy way to look at every single thing very critically. Healthy criticism, that's what that's called. And you're analyzing the data as you're looking at the ground and stuff. So here you have this little guy looking around at things, and all of a sudden he looks to the left, right, all around him, but he doesn't look down, which is a little suspicious there. But again, the CGI is brilliantly done. Then you move to the next set, and the next set is the one where the little guy is filmed walking through the trees. They're the little pixie, and look at that picture there. I mean, hey, it puts us Bigfooters to shame. Not blurred at all, total crystal clear, walking right through there. And listen to what Erwin's narrative is, and it is, oh, he must be heading down to the settlement. And I think I'll go check that out a little later on. I don't think in any of his videos I've ever seen the settlement in which he's talking about. He talks about a narration of where they're hanging, but he doesn't ever show us the actual settlement. And again, that's priming your thinking process with a narrative to fill in the blanks. That's what happens when we're online. And so let's go see the settlement then. You know, the other weird thing about those in his videos is they're always short clips, just like Bigfoot stuff that comes online. It's always the clip just of the Bigfoot, not what happens before and not what happens after, and not the reason why the camera happens to be there. Why is that camera on that stump? Why is that camera on the embankment? What are the odds that you're going to put something out in the bush that's a camera, and you guys know this, and it's just going to happen to walk on there? That's what we're all hoping for, but what are the odds it to happen? Well, it hasn't been too high. Here you got a guy that's got this habituation site. Oh, if he only had a habituation site like that, where he claims all this stuff is happening. Now, if he's claiming this stuff that's happening, he's going to bring in other people as resources to check it out. Because if people are sending me videos for this kind of stuff and a whole bunch of other kind of stuff and say, well, look, Leon, look. And I did that as well with some of Mike Patterson's videos. Then I'm excited about showing people this. This is pretty exciting stuff. No one's ever seen this stuff before. And I want to make sure I'm positive. There's other great people out there that help me move forward and want me to keep moving forward. Justin from Mountain Beast Mysteries and his documentaries that he does. He's like-minded in his thinking process. He tries to be fair. He tries to be non-offensive. But he also is looking for facts and truth about how to get them on film. Bob Gimlin with his systematic narration videos he does online. He's brilliant at what he does. It certainly gives you good food for thought, and those are the channels we should be having on the Bigfoot Network TV YouTube channels, or at least let's change the shows so most of them are like that. instead of some of these ones that are so vague with data that you can't vet any of the information because of the narrative. So anyways, I don't want to get back on. Then you look at this other one that he has, which I think is the best one of all of them. That's the one with the little pixie that's just sitting up top there. Look at him up there, just sitting there. What a casual looking guy. And how he says that he's a scout. And he's just there to watch him and keep an eye on him. Well, that guy, little pixie, doesn't look like he's in fret whatsoever. Look at him up there. He's just hanging out. He's checking things out and stuff like that. They seem pretty non-threatened by him being up there and stuff. Oh, wait a second, to back up. And in that particular video, underneath there, you see it says, "Oh, I'm sorry about the lack of enthusiasm I have. I'm coming down with a headache." Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I had a little, I'm in my living room right now, if I had a little pixie walk in front of my patio doors right here, I don't care if I have the flu, pneumonia, COVID, I'm going to get up and look at what the hell that is. I'm definitely going to be up and out and looking and filming and that. And I would be there chronically. His narrative, well, besides sound like you're listening to Attenborough BBC documentary of the planet, it's just so relaxed and calm and all that kind of stuff, which tells me I think he's doing it for entertainment for kids, actually, not for adults, but it might have got out of control for him. And then when he's moving to this next video here, where he talks about the idea of it's called what's called a long shot. In a long shot is when a subject in the movies where they take a camera and they keep it on the subject and they keep it on the subject for a really, really long time. So if you're usually watching movies and you've counted 10, you'll be lucky before you see a camera angle change on the subject. Long shot is when you keep the camera on the person for a really, really, really long time, and it's pretty brilliant and sophisticated of how he did that, which was, he was on the log, he says, oh, I gotta show you this, I gotta show you this. Earlier in this particular video, this particular pixie had gotten into his, this is the narrative, had gotten into his backpack and spewed all over the place and stole one of his sandwiches. And so then he turns and he goes, grabs the camera. You can see the camera still filming. It keeps filming the whole time as he pans around to look at the pixie, who now has his sandwich. And in that part right there, you notice how it gets blurry, but you can still see the pixie through the blurriness. That's pretty sophisticated CGI, being able to do that. And keep it consistent so that you can't see a break in the cut in the film from what we can tell in regards to the digital. But there are some other clues in there, audio clues and visual clues, but I'll let Bigfoot Tony look at that kind of stuff to explain how that can be possible. So there's that kind of part of it too, right? And then the other thing, at the end of that one, when it's lost his sandwich, and he goes, I'm tempted to go up there. Well, then go up there. Take your camera, keep it on, just like you have it on, and see what it actually does. You don't obviously are threatened by it at all. And you'll get your sandwich, you don't have to go home. You can actually eat your sandwich and then go, that was kind of interesting. Maybe leave a little part behind for him to come and get it, if he's real. But the narrative is very brilliant, and the CGI is brilliant on the whole thing, but none of it's real. The other one where he waits for a few seconds and the thing comes back into the picture, or comes out, and he goes, oh, there it is. Oh, no, he's going back in. Well, I guess that's it for me for today. It's like, really? That's it for you for the day? That's cool. Now, I know I'm not a pixie expert, and people can say, oh, well, you just said you're not a pixie expert. Well, I'm not a pixie expert, but I'm certainly trained in the scientific method, and there's a whole bunch of other things that I know that I don't have time to share on here in regards to how I know it's CGI and a few other things. But I'd rather you guys go investigate this video, investigate this person, go online, find out the counterbalance for this person. Remember, I always talk about you always take, you just don't take one person's side, you always look at critics of so-and-so. So that critic subtly on, if you want to check that out or whatever. I don't think you'll find much. But the idea is that you have to do that if we're trying to be objective researchers and observers of research. All right, so I think that's all I have for right now. I don't want to get too much into this part. I might do another video on this because it was so interesting to do, but I'll leave the most of it to... It's over to you there, Bigfoot Tony, And make sure you check out his video as well. Hopefully I'll be online in the near future here, but I'll just have to see how things go and stuff regards to when I'll be putting out my next video. Thank you guys for watching, and that's about it. I hope you have a great week. Hope your summer's going well for you. Hope you're not getting too cooped up with the whole COVID thing, and be safe. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Search engines on the internet are the epitome of confirmation bias. And you're going to use that as evidence that you are correct? No. The good thing about science is that it's true whether or not you believe in it. What does it mean to be skeptical? What does it mean to be convinced by data? A proper skeptic questions what they're unsure of, but recognizes when valid evidence is presented to change their mind.